Go. All right. Good evening, everyone. I would like to ask Mr. Wood to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Words. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So first on the agenda is the minutes approval from November 21st, 2024. Are there any comments or questions or corrections? If there are none, may I please have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from November 21st, 2024?
Chairman, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Smasinow?
Yes.
Mr. Akari?
Yes.
Mr. Quillen?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Chairman Terhune?
Yes. All right, next on the agenda is 12 Vichy Drive. And just a recap, the applicants are applying for 2 area variances to enable their submission of a building permit for 2 additions to their single-family residence. The subject parcel is located in the R1 zone. The applicants are proposing the construction of 2 minor additions to the front and side of their existing home. The proposed location requires a front yard variance of 5 feet from 50 feet to 45 feet and a side yard variance of 9 feet from 20 feet to 11 feet. Since our last meeting, I know a couple members of the board were able to visit the property and get a better understanding of what the project entails, what the layout looks like. Does the board have any additional comments or questions at this time? Are there any additional concerns? No?
The county, the other thing I was concerned about,
The county?
did they come back? You know,
We have,
The county was informed as part of the neighbor notices.
Yeah.
And no response.
because the 279, whatever, M. It's good. Okay, that was my only concern.
okay. No, I know there were some concerns about the project from a couple neighbors, including how I guess the extent of the variance, alternatives, stuff like that. And I wanted to kind of go over, I guess what the other board members saw. I know the one concern was for alternatives, other locations on the property, failed septic system on the right side of the house, septic system in the rear side. Was there, I guess, any other comments about it?
There was a comment about water, and I can tell the group, not saying I'm an engineer, but I was an excavator for most of my life. All the land is away from anybody else's property, so water is not
Not an issue.
any issue at all.
Yeah, the other thing I noticed too, there was a fence that needs some repair. We talked about the fence. And I noticed there's a couple additions on some people's houses that are right close by. And my feeling is, the addition that this party's asking for is something that would be in the wheelhouse of the neighborhood. It's not something that's gonna be oversized or anything like that. I mean, it's something that's gonna be in compliance he gets the relief.
And it meets the character of the neighborhood.
It sure does to me.
I agree.
concur. From walking the property, it fits the character of the neighborhood. Sorry. Microphone.
Yeah, you have to press the button.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So, I'm gonna break the two variances into separate approvals. So if there's no additional comments or questions from the board, I'd like to have a motion to approve.
Chair, but just for the board's benefit, prior to going to the final action, I
Please.
think for the record, I should read in what the board's supposed to consider pursuant to the code, just so we're all of the same mind. In its consideration of area variances, the board shall take into account the benefit to the applicant if the variance is granted, as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. In making such a determination, the board shall also consider whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than a variance, whether the variance is substantial, whether the variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood, whether the difficulty was self-created. And part two, the board in granting area variances shall consider the minimum variance that it is necessary and adequate. And at the same time, preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood and the health and safety and welfare of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions about that? Assuming we understand. So, first, I'd like to have a motion to approve the area variance for the front yard variance of 5 feet from 50 feet to 45 feet.
I'll make that.
Second?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Smasnow,
Yep.
Mr. Akari,
Yes.
Mr. Quillen,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Chairman Terhune.
Yes. Now, the side yard variance, I think is, one we have to look at a little more in depth. Obviously, we just went over the criteria that we look for when an application does, come to the board. I do see on the applications requesting 9 foot. The project has, I believe, 8.5 foot. And to council's point, the board is to grant minimum variance it deems necessary and adequate. So, I guess in terms of the side yard variance, I'd like to have a motion to approve the side yard variance of 8.5 feet from 20 feet to 11.5 feet.
Yeah. 8.5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds okay. Hmm. So you want a motion form? I'll make that motion.
So-
On the measurements that you just said was the 20 feet to 8.5 feet?
It's 8.5 feet relief, 20 feet to 11.5.
To 11.5. Gotcha. To 11.5 feet. for the side yard variance.
Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Smasino?
Yeah, well,
Okay, I didn't know if you
sure.
were just gonna go on.
Mr. Smasino?
Well, I know.
Mr. Akari?
Yes.
Mr. Quillen?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
And Chairman Terhune?
Yes. Okay. Is there, I guess, a question or comment that you?
Well, it's not a question.
Can you go up to the microphone?
Oh, name and address. Okay, my name is Sandy Bradley, and we live at 10 Vichy Drive, which is next door to Mr. Adams. All I wanted to say was the part about the fence needing repair. Before Mr. Adams and his wife moved in, we had renters for 10 years. If you realize how many dogs that went through that place, how many kids, we put that partial blocking fence up there. No, we did not remove it. Secondly, this fall, we, also Mr. Adams, we had 20 trees cut down in our backyard, which makes it very clear to see DE designs and every place else.
Sure.
But the point is, he's also talking about excavating his backyard. Now, if he does that, is that water still going to run away from my house? Because he wants to level the backyard.
Obviously, without a grading plan, you can't answer a question like that, but
And he would have to get a building permit.
But your land is above it. So no matter what he flattens out, unless he builds it up, which would then flood his own house, I can't see how that's possible.
And
Okay, and the building department wouldn't let him do that anyway.
But I just wanted to, the fence would have been repaired probably this spring. We just had the trees cut down and such.
sure.
So, you know,
It has nothing to do with us.
No,
No.
but
Yeah.
if he had something to say to it, which he did, he could have asked us.
Well, just so obviously, a lot of the things we're discussing, the ward and the fence is not entirely in the zoning board's purview. I will add the fence thing was a comment, that we make, because sometimes we make suggestions to try to be neighborly. Would this help if we did that, or if the applicant did that? There wasn't a comment from the applicant about the condition of the fence.
Excuse me, there was in October.
Sure.
If you read minutes, he said the property, the fence is, piecemeal.
Piecemeal.
Well,
He did say that in October, so
yeah,
he could have said something to us.
yeah. I think from your conversation, because it's a couple different types of fence, right?
Yes.
I think that's what he meant by piecemeal, not
But
that it
that's
was,
why we had that.
Yeah.
So with all the dogs and all the kids.
sure.
The guy was in the Navy.
Yeah,
So it's like,
I understand. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. We don't,
I don't think we need to.
yeah, we don't,
Fences.
I
Yeah.
didn't need to get into it.
here, it's all good.
Can I just clear something?
Yeah.
If you have a question about the zoning, I think that's fine. But I
Okay.
really don't want to talk about your fence. I'm being honest with you.
But for
And I know
clarity,
someone has to win and someone has to lose,
no,
but I'm really
Compromise.
sorry, I guess, that if you live next door, would you want someone coming so close? That's the part, so.
my understanding was that you weren't going to just level the whole land, you were just tear it. So, and he's responsible for his rainwater,
Yeah.
not you.
So if I start getting water,
Then you have a complaint. But if he changes the,
Impossible the way that place is.
Yeah,
It's impossible.
okay,
the way everything is set up in his backyard, he's got full Everything's sloping back towards his house. Anything, he would get water at his house before anybody else get water
Basement.
there.
Okay,
But like I say,
well,
he's,
anything can happen,
yeah.
you know. I understand.
But he had trees taken down and you're saying you had trees taken down?
We had 18 or 20 and he was supposed to have 18, but he didn't have 18, only 16, one on our side and whatever he had on his.
I would have had to mortgage the house for taking trees down, so
Well, these people, you should try Broken Branch. They were very
oh
reasonable,
my,
Very good.
yes,
$4,500 for 20 trees.
oh my,
Very,
yes.
very reasonable.
But I think in
And they cleaned it all up.
in
Perfect.
the spirit of compromise, I think what he has proposed will be visible from your house, but it fits with the community.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that, of the 5 prongs of the
Okay,
test.
if that's how you feel,
Well,
that's up to you guys, you know.
thank you, but thank you for coming forward.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, next on the agenda is 6010 County Farm Road cell phone tower area variance. The applicant, Verizon Wireless, is applying for an area variance for height for a proposed cell phone tower or cell tower at 6010 Country Farm Road. The applicant has submitted a special use permit and site plan application to the planning board for a 194-foot tall self-support cell tower. The proposed project is located within the Saratoga County government compound containing the correctional facility, animal shelter, public health services, public works, and several county offices. The subject parcel is in the R2 zone, and the proposed use established a maximum permitted height of 150 feet. The applicant is proposing the total height of 194 feet with a relief of 44 feet. Proposed project complies with the remaining dimensional regulations in the R2 zoning district. The applicant presented the project to the planning board on December 11, 2024, as the project ultimately requires a special use permit approval and a site plan approval pending the outcome of the variance request. On December 11, the planning board was established as the lead agency for the project review and classifies the proposed project as an unlisted action and determined that the planning board and zoning board of appeals will conduct a coordinated review of the project. So can the applicant or representative please come forward to the mic and give us an overview of the nature of the variance and exactly what relief you're seeking?
Good evening. My name's Steve Wilson. I'm an attorney and we represent the applicant. So as you stated, the proposal is for a cell tower on county property. If you want me to give a description of the cell tower, it's all in the application.
Please.
Okay, so it's a 190-foot cell tower with a 4-foot lightning rod on top, so it'll be a total of 194 feet. There's I believe the lease is going to encompass a 100 by 100 foot parcel. Within that parcel, there's going to be a 50 by 50 foot compound. The tower is going to be on a 9 by 12 concrete pad. There's going to be some associated infrastructure with it, including a diesel generator, which will be on its own pad. I think it's 4 by 8. Now, this location was selected. There was a search done, and these searches are periodically done to identify gaps in the cell tower system. There was a gap identified here. There is an existing 150-foot pole there. I believe it's 100. Is there the existing? 180. It's 180. Okay, but there's no room left on that pole except for a spot at 60 feet up.
66.
66. So on at 66 feet for Verizon to put their equipment at 66 feet, there's just not going to be any coverage. They identified the difference in coverage between 150 feet, 190 feet, and actually, they have handouts, which if you
Do you have a map of the, and that was submitted, I believe, right?
There's
The,
some coverage maps in the application, but these here, you don't have them down. The orange in the map shows coverage. There's a legend in the bottom right-hand corner. I believe the orange shows the coverage at 150 feet. And then as a green shows the substantial additional coverage you get at 190 feet. So basically, the new tower is proposed because there's in essence no room on the existing tower. So by building a new tower at 190 feet, you get all the additional coverage you see in the green. And with having a new tower, there'll be additional space for, Verizon will be able to co-locate other parties on this new pole too. So that's really the need for the variance.
Are you gonna dismantle the old tower, take the old tower down?
No, that tower was gonna say, it's got a lot of co-located equipment on it. Yeah, hence why the need for a new tower, because there's so much on it, there's just no more room.
And did you say this is on county property or on,
That's correct.
right?
and the other tower, 180, is it 182 or 180? Yeah, so I guess I mean, in terms of the height, I mean, what's the, I guess what's the benefit to the town for the additional, 10 or so feet? I mean, this one is obviously taller, right? And if we had one before, yeah,
You go up to the microphone.
I have to turn it over to the experts on the
please.
technology.
Hi, yes, I'm Sarah Pullman, with Aerospace Development, a consultant to Verizon Wireless. Currently, the county tower is like 184-ish feet. AT&T is extending it 10 feet. So Verizon looked at all of these options. We looked at, can we go on the on the tower? But the county has a lot of equipment, as I'm sure you can imagine, the emergency equipment, the jail. They have all these omnis. So we then looked at extending the tower and it was already taken, if you will. So the only other option potentially was for Verizon to build a new tower next to it. And so it is actually a comparable height for what the existing tower is going to be very soon. I meant to ask, excuse me, I meant to ask Andre at the Saratoga County today if AT&T started their extension. And I told him we were coming to this meeting and I forgot to.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question about the coverage map? Is that part of your expertise?
So that would be Rick Andrews, not me.
Sorry to get up. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking and, I'm guessing that this tower is gonna talk to the John Street Tower. Is that why you got that on?
Yes,
So it's not gonna talk to Curtis Lumber or,
those are too far over that.
Too far?
Those are
Okay.
Too far south.
and I noticed that it's really facing mostly to the north and northeast. But am
Well,
I correct in looking at that?
the blue is the existing coverage.
Well, I'm looking at the, the EMS stuff that's fine, but I'm looking at the, the green. So that, I would imagine that's your, that's all I'm just looking at it and it seems like everything, it's up and towards Saratoga, but it doesn't go into the town of Milton almost at all.
Well, so you're looking at the one with the red and the brown?
Yeah, well, I'm just figuring the green and the brown is all covered.
Yeah, that's all new coverage.
Right, new coverage. So the thing is that I'm looking here and everything is going up into Saratoga. And since I happen to live in the town of Milton, I'm wondering why there's nothing in the equal distance going, call it southwest or south. Why is that?
I mean, 100% of the coverage is within the town of Milton.
No, I'm not looking for 100%. I'm looking at,
No, but I'm saying that it is currently 100% of the coverage is within the town of Milton.
from other,
No, if you look at the map, so there's a dark black line.
oh, existing? Well, I can tell you right now.
Well, that's the town line, I guess, is what.
I'm telling you right now, where the south of that tower, where the golf course is and stuff, there's no Verizon coverage there. I live there. I have AT&T, I can talk, but outside, but people at Verizon go, I have no signal. So that's not true. Anecdotally, that is, anyway.
Yeah, we actually have a proposed tower that we're also in zoning on. We're not as far along as this one, but that, now that I see that, I 100% agree with you, and I think that's.
Well, I'm just wondering why this particular tower is going in that direction and can't go the other way as well.
Is that a height issue?
I guess I'm not quite understanding.
Well,
Because
the elevation goes down to help you topography wise. I don't know how that stuff works, but yeah, basically.
I don't want to take yours.
Does he want?
There is
Eric,
an extra.
yeah.
Just like give it to him.
I'll bring it to Eric.
Huh?
Bring this to
I'm
Eric.
just trying to.
No. They wanted this.
Yeah, because the
No,
code
I
map
know
doesn't really,
I'm good with it.
what he's, what is he, what his complaint is,
Yeah, what I'm saying is
the actual,
This goes this way instead
the
of-
ears,
Here,
Instead of all this
Oh,
way.
I see what you're saying.
and I'm saying I don't see it. And why not? Look, here, I mean, I'm not being.
No, I'm with you now. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying that.
And so my first question is why?
these things, is that what he's complaining about?
And my second question is why
To
not?
Milton, I mean.
Yeah.
Just saying,
Yeah, no, so where you see the blue coverage,
yeah,
right, and I'm not disputing what you're saying, that coverage is absolutely horrendous down by the high school and the.
well, not even the high school, that's not Milton either, I'm just talking about,
Right.
Yeah.
But so whenever you see the blue coverage, so the way these coverage maps works is you pick a signal level, which is the level that we're trying to accomplish. Whichever tower gives you that signal strength or the strongest, so it looks at a pin or a bin of, a geographical bin. Whichever surrounding site plus the new one has stronger signal in that bin, that's the color that gets assigned to it, right? So if you look to the north where it says Milton Center, so that blue coverage extending down to where it meets the green, all it's saying is that transition point where you go from the bluish gray to the green is where the proposed new tower becomes stronger than the site above it to the north. And similarly, the dark blue coverage is the site that we just recently went through zoning on it and were approved at. So the dark blue coverage is the extension of that, and then where that hits the green is where it's saying that the dark blue is where the new tower is stronger than the proposed one, and the green is the end of coverage or where it's competing with the other tower
I
called.
guess all I'm saying is I'd like to see the green and brown go southwest and south.
Is there
But I guess
on that map?
So if I just plotted this site by itself, where it wasn't competing with the other blue coverage around it.
Well, maybe
it
you
would
could show
cover
us,
further. Sure, yeah.
a different map which would show that, would that,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand it, make sure.
Just so I have this on the bottom here. This is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That has coverage right now.
And I'm telling you that
That it's not
really
good.
doesn't.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the.
Yeah, no,
I
and
mean, I leave my driveway and literally drive 100 feet and I know it's gonna drop every time. Now I know
Yeah.
about how capacity is a drop issue. So I just chalk it up to that. And maybe this tower will help that, but I'm just saying, when you guys start doing your engineering and aiming and whatever you guys do, maybe somebody should go back to them because they don't care. They're gonna go, I know why you're heading in that direction. There's more people calling there and you want to get traffic. I understand that, but since it's our town, maybe we want a little stronger signal the other way. And maybe you can talk to them and say, what do we have to do that? You got a whole big tower with just you on it.
The tower being the height that is 194 feet, what is the signal, the radius, the strength of the signal as far as a radius? Is it 3 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles?
With 2.5, 2.25.
Yeah, it looks like two-ish to the northeast, mile and a half-ish to the northwest.
That's all?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because
they're limited.
that's not very, I mean, for the size of that tower,
why
is that
FEMA-
tower just gonna be a steel tower or is it gonna look like a tree? Are they gonna make it
No,
a
it's
little
steel.
bit?
Franken point?
I mean, it's an open field, right?
Yeah.
It would look, it would
'Cause I've
look
seen
more like
that.
a toilet
Yeah.
worse than a tree.
Yeah, I've-
Put it in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
those work well when you're surrounded by trees, but
Trees.
this is literally in the middle of an open field.
But why I'm concerned is like, I think he is too, the strength of that. I mean, the height of it, it should be, have a lot stronger signal, just 2-3 miles.
But I guess what I'm saying, right, is this also includes coverage from sites that are surrounding, so that, you know, the next site, like the site that's called Milton Center on the upper right of the map.
Yeah,
So that's what, 3.5 miles away.
If that,
So the blue coverage from that is all this map is saying is the blue coverage is existing. And wherever you see the blue coverage, it's stronger than the coverage that you get from the new.
Just the run, right?
There's no
Yeah.
reason for the new tower to compensate where there's already
Here,
coverage.
nothing.
right?
because I know in Verizon, I know you have power equipment on those.
Yeah.
The village owned
Water thing.
water, you know.
Right.
Dead zone.
well, that's the John
I
Street.
had to do some work on that tower, when we had it. You guys, when you mounted the frames on, you welded the frame, and you melted the interior, the lining on epoxy. And we had it drain that whole tank, the village lost all their water, and then I had to go in visually and make sure that the repair was done correctly. And this was some years ago.
I think that was AT&T or T-Mobile, because I'm almost certain that we're welded to the outside.
Yeah.
How are they doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I think Verizon was on it too,
Oh, yeah, we're definitely in.
yeah.
So is that possible? But, right now, I imagine our town engineer is looking at this. Is that correct, Patrick?
Correct.
Yeah, and is
Yep.
and are they gonna get somebody to check with all due respect, check their numbers? Get a consultant that's, a different engineer to, this isn't my first.
No,
exciting time, and
I completely, I just
I don't have a
think that
problem
you're.
with, first of all, you're in the right place in our town, let's just be honest. You're in the right place in our town and you need some additional height. It's nice to know that additional height is gonna get service for our community too. So I guess that's my consideration. So one way or another, I'd like to see somebody address that. Does that sound, am I being clear? I don't know.
I just think there's a disconnect with this coverage map.
Well, I understand that somebody colored in a spot. And what I'm telling you is,
No, I get what you're saying, and I honestly think that I accounted for we call it Boston Spa South. I think that's the coverage from that, which the tower, we're in zoning, so
Mhm.
obviously the coverage isn't there. A lot of these, we go through zoning, which we just recently did on the Milton West, that you're fully aware of. So you show the future planned coverage, right? So it almost looks like that layer was left on for this particular plot, which it shouldn't be. Because to your point, there's literally no coverage south of this site.
right, and I mean, for
So-
emergency vehicles and everything else,
Yeah, so.
we deserve it too.
Right, but so the point being on this map, so if I turned off all the other sites around it so there was no other blue coverage, this site would cover considerably further.
Well, could you show us
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
I guess
no,
is what I'm
absolutely.
You can
saying.
like break it down a little bit.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
Yeah, so and what this represents, so the dark color is coverage from the same tower at 150 feet, and the green is the extra
Okay.
height.
well,
So
that's good to
what
know
this
too.
is. Yeah.
I'm just trying to be, look out for the town.
No, understood.
Like, everybody and his grandmother's got a cell phone now. So,
Yeah,
you know,
and I guess, good thing to point out too, so the signal level where it says minus 95 dBm, right, so,
I know you're limited in certain respects,
yeah, so
that
what,
stuff is engineer stuff, that's really not our,
right, right, but what that signal strength means is if you're outside of a home, it still allows you to have some additional coverage to penetrate inside of homes.
Yeah.
Right, so if it was just strictly vehicle coverage, you know, this entire map would just be, you know, it would show coverage.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, well, we got Wi-Fi, so people will pick it up in the home. As soon as they walk outside,
Yeah.
Okay.
they
Yeah.
get it.
Understood.
So I had a couple questions. Obviously, the map, from my understanding, it's showing obviously at 150 feet what that coverage would be, and then at 194 feet. And I'm also a little colorblind, so I had counsel direct me in the right spot. If you were to remove all the other towers, this would look more like a circle, I'm assuming. And this map really just shows if you go, you know, closer to, you know, the St. John Boston Spa Tower, it eventually goes to there. However, the coverage from this current tower would go further than this map, right?
Yes,
Without a tower here. Okay.
So-
So this is just where it would pick up.
right.
Like
Yeah,
this
so-
tower.
So it shows you the transition from, like, your cell phone would swap over from
Got it.
a tower to an existing.
Okay. So I mean, the tower can provide more coverage than that. It's just a matter of strength relative to the other towers.
Okay, but all I'm saying is that it'd be nice to see that.
Yeah.
I realize this is a process. You guys know that. So it would be good to see that.
Understood, sure.
And-
There's only one other thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
And I'll preface this by saying this is definitely not in our wheelhouse. Looking at the map, no matter what happens, I don't know where we'll end up. I'm sure things will work out. That you look at, instead of a straight driveway, something with a little bit of an angle so that you can screen, I mean, it's literally directly in front of that house. Yeah, and I don't even know who that person is. But once again, being a person supposed to look out for the town, it might, you know, at least you don't have to look at the bottom, you know, that, and I don't think that's unreasonable. I think that we would ask the planning board to look at that,
Yeah.
just to let you know. Maybe you want to bring it up on your own and solve an issue before it becomes one. I'm just trying to be friendly.
No, that's
Okay.
reasonable.
I mean, you would never know that, just, you know, you pluck stuff on a map and, okay, let's see. I get it.
Planning board raised that too.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
So taking it back is being discussed.
Yeah, I don't think it's, you know, especially once I heard you have 100 by 100, you got enough room, which is nice. You can have there's no sight distance issues there, so you could come in on the, you know, just off the right side of the property, let's say, swing to the left and then come back to your spot. And then if you put your evergreens across the front, you know, if you did it a straight driveway, you're still gonna have that straight shot. You know, it's common sense.
You're looking at.
Yeah, I think that would be a nice thing as just human beings. I got nothing.
On your drawings, is there plantings, some type of plantings, like varieties or something, some kind of evergreen, some kind of plantings? Like you was talking about.
Is that on a certain tab?
No.
No, he was just asking.
But we are actually talking about slatting the whole front of the fence. So then, like, nobody from the road, County Farm Road, would see anything. Usually doing that versus plantings, the plantings sometimes die. No one's really there to water that, like, you know,
Sure.
it gets a little, sometimes it gets a little lost, a planting, but we could do plantings if that was preferred.
That's up to planning.
Yeah.
You know, like.
It is, but-
Varieties or something like that.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
like,
And we've done it before.
You go and grow so high, you know. Keep the height down, or whatever, just something that would be,
Well,
Pat, can you turn
that's
on
not
your
gonna be an issue.
no,
Your microphone's off, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the elevation is total for the
Yeah.
mechanical part of this tower is like 14 feet or so. I see like the side view and the front elevation is about 10, then they add some.
Talking about The height of the panels that would be attached to the
Oh.
top of the tower?
No, of the building at the base of it itself?
Oh, it's actually not really a building. It's gonna be steel equipment platform with some cabinets on it. So it actually won't be a building.
But it's man-made. So that's why they're talking about screening.
Yes.
Okay. No, we're not
By the
asking you to
road.
screen the tower.
No.
No. That's
The thing
probably,
is, you could have a 6 foot by the road, that's a lot more effective than something 100 feet back.
and it's
You know,
gonna,
just-
gonna have a diesel generator too?
Yeah.
Yes.
There wasn't a consideration of using gas, natural gas?
I don't think there's natural gas there.
Yeah, I don't think that there is, but
The
If
county,
there is, then you should get it.
the county's got natural
Yeah,
gas.
that's all these,
Natural gas?
the
the county
generator,
buildings with the prison and everything else
the
there?
generator only runs for our site when there's no power. So it's
Yeah.
an emergency.
But then they do operate like once a week or every other 2 weeks. They alternate for half hour, 45 minutes. They start up.
Correct.
It's a program, either you program at a certain time of day or a certain time of night, whatever you
Correct.
want them to run.
Yes, and we can do it. It's always during business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but we could also pick a time if that was preferred. I mean, the county is obviously doing their business as usual, probably even 9 to 4.
Either
You know
way,
what I
you're not
mean?
gonna
So
Yeah.
it
You're
would
not
just
gonna
be
hear it.
minimal, I'm sure.
I'm just,
If you could, yeah, I mean, since all our water is directly under there, not that, natural gas, you don't care. Natural gas is better. You don't have to worry about how much fuel you got.
Yeah, it's just getting it to there, I guess is.
it's something that,
Right there. If
Yeah.
that building has it, you got a gas main right there.
yeah, the
That's
county,
easy.
Yeah, that would have a gas line.
Okay, it's just not usually what Verizon will do, that's all, but, if it was something that needed to be done, I guess we could do it, but.
something that,
Always, always the first.
yeah, something to look into. I mean, because I got a
Motors run better.
pump station right now. It's gonna have natural gas generator. And I built another big pump station in Schenectady where I got two gas generators that are the size of almost a railroad train locomotive. And they run quiet. They're quiet. You don't hear them. The neighbors will not hear them or anything. A diesel, when that diesel starts up, because I have one of them that are diesel, they do make a lot of noise.
Well,
It would only be a 50 kilowatt. I'm just saying it's kind of probably small in the scheme of things with.
Yeah, but they're an emergency backup generator.
Right.
that's what
I'm
And they're gonna be, I think they test them once a month. or
Yeah,
something,
well,
or about-
or-
believe it or not, we lose power out there a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
well,
That's, but I can attest to that. But, yeah, is your company gonna be doing the maintenance on this? Or is Verizon or somebody else?
Verizon will be doing the maintenance on this.
If-
Verizon will own the tower.
If they're smart, a motor that runs on gas, natural gas, is gonna be so clean, you won't believe it. And, I switched everything over to, we don't have natural, the propane. Zero issue. Really, really good.
Okay,
The diesel there's maintenance issues with diesel.
we can take it back to Verizon. I just, you know what I mean? It's a really big issue.
I know they don't like to change their systems.
I think it's just equipment
How
that
much time?
is in the warehouse, right? You know what I mean? It's,
All you gotta do is, it's not hard to change it over.
When were they planning to? Is there a set date? Do they have a date that they looking to start?
I mean, it seems like the town of Milton really would like coverage in a lot of areas. We just got, like we said, we just got approval on December 11th for another tower in this town. And
Where?
so, on Rock City Road,
Oh.
939.
That's the dark one.
Yeah. So we would like to start, but we do need this variance from you guys. And then, of course, we need to go back to the planning board just to finalize things. And then we would need to get a building permit. and then we need to order the tower. So, I mean, we're probably looking at June, I mean, just because of process alone. The county's on board, they've already signed the lease.
You're gonna pay them, why wouldn't they be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Care less.
They
Yeah.
care less.
Did I say that?
Right.
Does the board have this packet?
Yeah, we do.
He does.
Oh, is this one point out to what we were talking about before?
What have you got?
Yeah, we the whole,
It all comes, and then
Thing.
you wanna look at something, and I take the computer and go,
Well, if you could get your hands on a hard copy.
yeah,
Look
that
at the
would be
maps
better.
in tab 6, because that's when
Six.
it just demonstrates what, kind of what we're talking about. Because that's how it is
what
now.
page?
Okay.
Verizon book.
No, there we
This
go.
is 4G, and you can do 5G.
Well, this is what
This
it is
one?
now.
Okay.
Yes, that's the.
Craziness. Craziness.
Okay, so
Can you see it, Amanda?
like I said before, what Verizon does is they identify gaps in the service.
Sure.
Okay, so
There it is.
now picture the green you saw before on that map, that now is in this area. So
Okay.
just keep in mind that it's not necessarily about how far this new tower goes.
Mhm.
The new tower is necessary to fill this gap in coverage. See how this green fills in the open area. So,
Well, think about it, we're probably one of the few guys that actually are interested in what we do. Right?
yeah, I'll go back to the microphone, but,
Yeah, no, that's cool.
take a look at that map if you're there. I'll go back to the microphone and put this on the record.
No.
Okay, I'll do that first. I'll come back and get my packet.
Shit.
Has everyone seen the
Do you want to see that?
without the tower?
No, let me
But they're gonna-
take it.
This tower.
Yeah, please, sir.
Probably, for some reason, it get that.
So just as I was saying, Verizon, where the towers are placed is that there's a search done in areas where there's gaps in service are identified. So you can see, this is, the light blue is existing, the dark blue is existing, and all in here is no service. So just keep in mind that this tower,
There is no service.
don't think
That's where I live.
it's going in one direction or another. This tower fills in all the service that's missing.
Sure.
Believe
Yeah,
it
the
or
whole
not,
gap. So that's really why the tower is,
your map shows no service exactly where I'm talking about.
Okay, so,
And when I look at this one, again, there's no service in that spot.
okay, so I just want to clarify, just to say that, I don't necessarily make it into how far this tower goes.
Mhm.
This tower is proposed to fill that hole.
Sure.
And that's what, and the orange showed you that maybe this much of the hole would be filled. But if you make it 190 and the green goes up here, it fills all the hole. So, that's, I just want to,
I'll give you that.
okay, thank you.
But here. Right, here, right that spot. That green spot, okay, look. That's the spot.
Yeah, so.
Should continue this.
Well, the school is over here,
Well, there's
the high school,
yeah, not the high school, the one that's on.
Wood Road. On
Between
That's-
Verizon and the other.
There's schools are over here.
On East High
Yeah,
Street.
so.
No, East High Street, that's a village, that's different.
We're talking about East High Street.
Yeah, that's all.
Oh,
This is both. See that wall?
Yeah, I
Okay.
I want to make sure that doesn't get lost, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
I got, I guess 2 more questions. Well, I guess one, the other one is answered. Why 194 feet? Like why not 195? Well, I mean, I saw in the, is it just a cost benefit analysis? Like the higher you go, is it more beneficial or?
Lights.
FAA.
Yeah.
And the lighting rods
200
4
feet, you don't
Mhm.
have to have lights on the tower. And this was already, so there's no notice required to the FAA. for
Microphone.
this Because,
She'll get you.
It's under 200 feet, the FAA is not involved, so no lights need to be on the.
Correct.
No FAA. I think that's really the only reason.
Yeah, and there is a point of diminishing return, right? Loss.
Yep.
thought the microphone.
Yeah, come on. She's gonna yell at
So
you.
typically, once you get above a certain height, you can keep going higher and higher, and there's no real.
Okay. That was really what it is. Like, why not 180 like the other tower, you know?
Tower is technically gonna be built to 190 feet.
Yeah, and then
there's-
the 4 foot. Yep.
Not crazy, just doing 194, like an off, not like a.
No, well, yeah. To be fair, I thought there was that 194 was the perfect. So is 190 kind of the,
Yeah, they said, oh, we want to keep that one spot open because he stopped us 10 years ago. We're never giving that guy.
yeah, right? That's,
Well, the map you have shows the difference between 150 and 190.
yeah. I mean, that's a big difference.
The antennas are actually going to be at 185.
Okay.
Yeah, so the antennas are 8 feet tall, so the top of the antenna is.
Yep.
The top of the steel. And then there's the 4 foot lightning rod, which is, this big around, it's just a little stick.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, what kind of coverage decrease would there be with like a foot off the tower?
Oh,
You know what I mean? No, so I mean, that goes to my question, why 190 then?
If you think about like a flashlight, which essentially
Yeah.
antennas are, right? They're about a 65-degree beam width in this direction and generally 10 degrees-ish this way. So because you're so close, straight down below the tower, you don't obviously need as much gain out of the antenna to cover super close in. But the main focus of the beam is off in the distance.
Sure.
So then it comes down to either, topography and trees, right? So if you have a bunch of trees between your house, you could be close and there's so much lost through the trees, you still don't get coverage. But in general, right? So you get, if I have a flashlight here, there's going to be very little coverage down here because of the blockage from this, right? So the higher I go, I get a better angle.
That's interesting.
So this works the same way with trees and whatever obstructions you have in the way. So if you have hills and trees, generally somewhere in the 150 to 200 foot range is the sort of the sweet spot if you're looking to get as much coverage as you can. So different, if I ran a plot at 250, there probably would be very little difference in coverage.
Okay.
Did you look at the topography of that site? I think is it flat or does it go up as you head north?
It goes up, but I don't think a whole lot. It's 20 feet maybe.
So you'd need a 160 foot tower. Well, I guess it'd be the same.
Yeah, I mean, they probably still, I would imagine, even if you went higher elevation, you still look for the
I'm
190.
guessing it's 190 because they come in 10-foot sections or whatever.
Yeah, so again, just there's a certain height where, that's what these prop maps do, right? Is they take all this stuff into account, the angles once the signal hits something and the signal scatters. But, if you're skimming the top of a tree, it's not nearly as effective as if you're above it and you get some bit of a downward angle with the signal. So then the signal goes straight down as opposed to if you're skimming along the top, the signal scatters and.
Yeah. And I guess with, the board's consideration of granting the minimum variance necessary and adequate, why 190 versus 180? Like what, I guess,
Yeah,
are you trying to get, I'm assuming you're trying to get the maximum coverage out of the tower. Obviously you stay away from the 200. But I would be interested to see what the difference would be between 180, 185, like obviously 150 is a lot less, but yeah, that's because that's 44 feet with
Right.
the rod on top. But,
Yeah, we can certainly do that. Yeah, so the difference between 180 and 190 is probably not a whole lot, right? So it'll be, I would guess 175-ish is where it starts seeing
okay,
a difference.
Your town code says 150.
correct.
That's.
Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah, and then, I mean, we kind of picked 190 to match the other one, right? So it's like, well, AT&T's going to be at 190. We don't want to go with 170 and have less coverage than they do.
yeah. Okay. That's a fair point. I didn't understand why that versus anything else. And I understand the 200 and I understand 150's less coverage and you're trying to find a seat spot. Just want to know why that number was the number you came up with. That's all.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Are there gonna be other carriers on the tower or just
If,
Verizon?
if they so choose, I mean, we build it obviously capable to hold others. And even the county, if the county wanted to add equipment to it. That one.
Thank you.
Town could add stuff too. Three.
Verizon does that.
Usually.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
And,
Oh, I didn't know if you were being funny.
I thought it was.
you could always, right?
Yeah.
I'm giving $100 billion to the country. Why don't you make it 200 billion?
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from the board?
When's the engineer report coming back?
We should have an engineer report before the next planning board meeting.
Okay.
That is January 8th.
Think we would want that person to come here and go through with
Perfect.
due diligence.
That's it. Okay. Any other questions or comments? No. May I have a motion to schedule a public hearing?
Someone. Stop.
Well, the project does have to be moved along.
Yeah, no,
And-
that's, I'm just asking a question, that's all.
Yeah.
And if,
Planning board has a public hearing.
and the seeker will be
Not yet.
done, well, it's intended to be done at the next planning board meeting, so the zoning board will have more information at that time.
Okay.
The zoning board should have the engineer's report from the planning board. And then if there are still unidentified or unanswered questions at the public hearing, it's at the board's discretion to keep it open still.
Good point. Then I'll make that motion.
Very good. And that's January 23rd at 7 p.m. Second.
Give me a second.
Also.
Mr. Smasanow,
Yep.
Mr. Akari,
Yeah.
Mr. Quillen,
Yeah.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Chairman Terhune.
Yes. And may I have a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
All concur.
All concur. Thank you, everyone.